Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next podcast. It's Happiness by Design, Transforming Workplaces with Richard Clarke. Richard, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you very much. How are you, Tim, today?
Yeah, fine, thank you. Fine, thank you. So, Richard, could you introduce yourself to our listeners and share your journey from being unsure about your career path at 18 to founding Secret Source with a focus on happiness in the workplace?
Wow. Okay. Long story. I'll try to keep it short. So my name's Richard. I live in Gran Canaria. I founded Secret Source. We're an IT outsourcing company based in the Canary Islands. So I've been fascinated by the concept of happiness, the science of happiness, for I think and since I was about 15, 16 years old. And the origin story, I think, is when I was doing my GCSEs. I wanted to choose my A levels. I had no idea what I wanted to do as a career. And so the careers advisor said, just do something you like doing. Do A levels you like doing, a degree you like doing. And from that moment on, I became not obsessed, but fascinated by this concept of how to make myself happy. And it was great because I wasn't confined by all the sort of expectations of society to go to university and then get a job in the city and stuff like that. I was just focused on making myself happy. So after, after university, I went traveling around the world while all my friends went to become bankers or IT or whatever. I went to work in a bar in Turkey. Then I went to Australia, traveled the world. 2001, I ended up in Gran Canaria, started lots of jobs, worked as an IT teacher, and it was great. I had a wonderful life, like wonderful life. I lived in Gran Canaria. It was sunny all the time, wonderful wife, wonderful kids, but there was something missing, and I didn't know what it was. And then I realized that I was the big thing that was missing in my life to make me happier was a sort of overarching purpose. And I realized that it what I needed to do was I needed to make other people happy, to help other people. And so I started Secret Source in 2014. It's an IT company, an IT outsourcing. My goal was to make our clients happy. That's that's the story.
Thank you so much. So yeah, you started Secret Source
Yeah,
in terms of your inspiration
yeah.
regarding, with the team and client happiness as its core mission. What kind of motivated you to do that one?
So I'd been before that for about 5 years before I do that. I've been working with teams in India. I've been project managing teams in India, sort of as a sort of go between UK clients and the teams in Indore in India. And the developers were great. They're super talented guys over there. But I just felt there was something wrong. Okay. The developers didn't really enjoy the work. The clients didn't. We did it. It was all on time. It was all on budget, but there was something missing. And I had this theory that if I could get the teams to work really closely together, right? And I could get them to work really closely with our clients, we'd just be able to do better work. And and then we were thinking about what would be the best measure of success, right? Is it the amount of points we do in a sprint? Is it how fast we did it? Is it on budget? And I realized that every client was different. They had different priorities and different definitions of success. And what was common amongst all of them was if they were happy or not, right? Really simple. This client would be happy if the developers worked really closely with them. This client would be happy if we could deliver things quickly. So that's when I thought, well, let's measure success by how happy our clients were. And it started with that, and then that developed into how happy our team was. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So, how have your extensive travels to 45 countries influenced your approach to happiness and well-being in the workplace?
Okay. So I've traveled, yeah, I've been to whatever 45 places. And so the way I think about happiness, right, there's your short-term happiness, like I've had a lovely meal with my wife and my kids, and you get, oh, that makes me really happy. I've been for a nice walk in the woods. And you've got those that go up and down during the day, sort of experiential type. And then you've got that underlying level of happiness that you have when nothing else is happening, and how sort of content you are with your life. And what I noticed when I was traveling, I had lots of highs. Yeah. You're traveling around Asia, you're traveling around Australia, you highs every single day. It's brilliant. But my general level was sort of quite low, and because I was missing something. And that's when I realized that happiness is more than just the nice things that you do in your life. You need a purpose. You need to feel that you're growing and stuff like that. And that's when I realized that. And that was really important. Yeah, I actually realized it on a beach in Thailand. I was sitting in it.
Yeah.
I'm just not happy today. Why is it? And then
Mm,
I want stability, and that was a sort of a light bulb moment for me. Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Cool. So, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced in implementing happiness as a core part of your business strategy, and how did you overcome them?
So the biggest, I think the biggest challenge for us, was actually sticking to our values. So right at the start, we said um, our team happiness is the most important KPI, right? We stick to that. Everything else will fall into place, right? But there are times when, so let me tell you a story. So about 5, 6 years ago, our biggest client didn't make our team happy. He was a nice guy, but the way he
Mm,
worked didn't, and
sure.
our team just didn't enjoy working on the project. We kept trying to find solutions, and then we had a management meeting, and I was coming, right, let's try this month. And our head project manager, who's now the CEO of the company, said, look, we're never going to make this guy happy, right? And that he's never going to make it. We're just not a good match. He'd be better off going somewhere else. And we have to either finish it with this client, right? Or you have to stop saying that team happiness is the most
Mm,
important thing to the company. You have to remove it from the website, but clearly it isn't, because obviously profit
mm,
and revenue are more important.
sure. Sure.
And that was like a light bulb moment. And I go, oh, you're right, I've got to do that. And so sticking to your values when financially it doesn't seem to be the right decision,
Mm,
that's been the hardest thing. Now, obviously, there are times when you have to make decisions based on financial, but yeah, sticking to our values, that I think was the hardest thing. Yeah.
thank you. Thanks.
Yeah.
So, can you share a personal insight or transformation you've experienced by applying the science of happiness to your work?
Yeah. So many stories, but I think probably the best one, and this was a big moment for me, because when we started off the company, we thought that the way to make our team happy was to make them enjoy their work, right? Do fun stuff, do fun projects, get nice sofas in the office, free breakfast, all the usual stuff. We thought that
Mm,
was the secret, right? And our team was amazing. They were really close. They were best friends. They went out for meals together. They went out for beers after work. Really, really, really close. But we after we began about 3 years, we sent out a questionnaire to the staff, and one of the questions was, do you see yourself here in 1 year? Right? 50% of the team said no. Right?
wow.
So we thought everyone was happy and having a lovely day at work, but 50% wouldn't see themselves in a year. We thought, wow, that's bad. So
Yeah.
we dug a bit deeper, and we found the reason was that they didn't see a future there. So they're having fun at work.
Right.
They had no career. They weren't learning. They had no structured learning. They didn't know what salary they're going to learn. They didn't know how to
Mm,
move up the ladder. And at that point, I realized happiness is far more than just having fun and doing cool stuff at work. There's a few other really important underlying
completely.
factors
Yeah.
that you have to deal with as well. Yeah,
Cool, cool.
yeah.
So you mentioned a method to boost workplace happiness in just 5 minutes a day in one of your keynotes. Could you explain this strategy further?
Yeah. So, okay. So when I talk about happiness in the workplace, right? People think, wow, that's going to be really difficult, right? wow, how do I do that? And I like comparing it to health. Okay, so you say to someone, you say, "Like, I want to be healthier this year. What do you have to do? Right, you have to do more exercise, you have to sleep more, you have to eat well and look after your mental health." And you think, okay, right, what does that mean? Right, let's look at sleep. So yeah, you gotta sleep 8 hours. Um, okay, brilliant. How do I do that? And then
Mm.
if you break it down, so you can start with something really small, like um, just set yourself a bedtime alarm, right? 9:30, little alarm on your clock, on your phone. Go off, said go to bed in half an hour. That little nudge, right, will
Mm. Yeah,
makes it really easy to go to bed. There's a great study
break it
about
down.
biscuits, right?
Yeah.
Biscuits. If you put biscuits in a tin on someone's desk, um, and then biscuits in a drawer in their desk, and then biscuits on a table away from them, they'll eat less biscuits how far they are away, and that just tiny little nudge
Mm.
can make a bit of difference. So what I'm trying to do is I've got we've tried many things over the years. And what we want to do is we want to nudge people in the behaviors that we want to do. So for an example, if you want to improve community if you want to get your team together, this is one thing we discovered by accident, right? Is we changed the coffee machine in our office, right? We used to have a Nespresso machine, and what
Mm.
used to happen is everyone used to get up, go and make their coffee with the capsules really quickly, pop back to their desk and drink it at their desk. Yeah. Then we got one of those mocha pots, the sort of Italian things you
Oh,
put on the stove,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
They make coffee, 12 cups at a time. It was a big one. But you can't keep it hot on the stove. You have to drink it at that moment. So what happened was the person who made it used to send out a Slack message to the group and say, right, coffee's ready.
Ah,
12 people used to come up from their
yeah.
desks, stand in the kitchen, pour themselves a coffee, and stand there for 10 minutes drinking their coffee, right? Tiny, tiny change. We just changed the coffee machine, cost us 30 euros. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it created groups. They started getting together,
Fantastic. Yeah.
building relationships. And then, yeah, 2 weeks later, we bought a teapot, and the same thing happened with the tea drinkers. So
Oh,
great.
fantastic. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
lots of little things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you advocate for improving team performance without financial investment.
Yeah.
Could you provide an example where this approach led to significant improvements? I know that was one of them, but maybe another one?
Yeah. So what when I talk about happiness to managers, to companies, and they say, "Oh, this is great. Like, I love this idea, but actually, is it going to actually make any difference to my business?" Right? Yeah, I've read all the studies, but is it actually going to make my team perform better? Well, like all the studies show it will do, but it's quite difficult to sort of quantify it, especially in like software development or something like that. So one of the things that we worked on quite a lot is psychological safety. Okay, so if you don't know what, some of your listeners might not know what it is, but basically Google did psychological safety is when if you're in a group, you feel safe to ask questions to other people, to express your opinions, to even challenge other people without them
Sure.
saying that's a silly idea, right? Psychological
Yeah.
safety. Google did a massive study about 10, 15 years ago, and they found that is the most important characteristic of their highest performing teams, like more
Sure, sure.
important than experience and stuff like that. And so we did a lot of work on, there's lots of little tricks you can do to improve psychological safety of teams. And so what that does on a sort of performance level is that teams, one, it makes them happier because they feel safer at work, they're safer to be themselves, but it also means they collaborate a lot better. So like software development, it's really important that the client and the team feel really safe talking to each other, because the team can then be honest with the client and they can ask questions and stuff like that. So yeah, that's probably the best example of something that we did to improve the happiness that massively improved the actual output of the team. Mm.
Fantastic. So how did you come to implement happiness KPIs at Secret Sauce? And what impact have you observed from this practice?
So it was a lot of the stuff that we do came about by accident, or we were trying something else, and then we noticed. And this happened. One of our developers wanted to. they wanted something called a project health. They wanted to tell our client the health of their project every 2 weeks in the sprint retro. So they wanted to know, is it on time, is it on budget, etc., etc. And one of the things they were going to do is the happiness of the team and the client, how happy the team, and it was just part of this project health thing that the client had. And just by accident, they did it as a red, amber, green scale, not a good, okay, bad, red, amber, green. And what happened, we noticed, was that our team, by giving them a way of saying they're not happy without having to say, I'm not happy, they just have to say orange or amber.
All right.
What happened was it started conversations that had never, ever happened before.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. Because ask a client, how are you feeling? They go, yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. But if you say how you're feeling, they go orange. You can then go, why are you feeling orange this month? Well, I'm feeling orange because this didn't go so well. Okay, why? And it was the happiness level is important, but it was the conversations that happened after it that were just changed everything. People just started being more honest. It made a massive difference. Massive difference. Yeah.
Fantastic. So when
Yeah.
preparing for your engaging and impactful keynote speeches, how do you ensure that your message will resonate with your audience?
Okay. Thank you very much for saying that my keynotes speeches are impactful. So what I like to, there are so many stories, but what I like to do is I like to show people that they can be the hero of the story, right? If I By listening to what I have to say and understanding the science, that they can actually make a massive difference themselves in their company, right? So it's not just me telling them, I'm teaching them, I'm telling them where to go and how to do it so that they themselves can go back the next day and they can make the difference in the company. And I think that's where it most resonates, because they can picture themselves the following day walking into their team and going, right, this is what we're going to do today. And they feel really empowered doing it.
Cool.
Yeah.
So for leaders and managers eager to integrate happiness and well-being into their teams, what initial step would you suggest they take?
Okay. So I think the key thing here is understanding what makes people happy at work, right? A lot of people think, like, I can just solve it, just paying a higher salary, giving more bonuses. Yeah. It sort of works in the short term, but it doesn't really cover the sort of underlying factors that actually make people happy at work. So understand what makes people happy at work. If you look at the US Surgeon Generals, they've got a guide on well-being. They break it up into 5 areas, and it's really, really easy way to understand it. That's the first thing. Then once you understand what makes people happy at work, you can then look at your team, and then you can do little behavioral nudges that will just push them in the right direction. But if you're going to choose one thing, psychological safety, read up about psychological safety, get your team feeling safe, and that's a really good start. Really good start. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the insightful chat today. Really
Right.
enjoyed it, and we definitely have to do more in the future, a bit more in detail. Thank you so
Okay.
much, and have a good day, Richard.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.